the Man Space Podcast. Take it away, fellas.
Thank you, voice girl, and welcome to another edition of the Man Space Podcast. Now, this is the voice of Russ, and with me, as always, who has already started planning his Halloween party, the one and only Big Les.
Yeah, baby. I would hope you would have something a little bit more spookier than that for me. You know what I mean? But it's okay.
At least you're carrying your favorite thing, a pumpkin.
Yeah, whatever. At midnight, I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin anyway. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It was
What's
probably
going on, dog?
like a 6:15 for you, but
no doubt.
But listen,
Yeah,
this show has been one that I'm really looking forward to doing.
Okay.
Because what are your thoughts on when it comes to hypnosis?
I don't want to say that I'm a skeptic, but
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like, you know, is this truly real? Can it really happen?
Right.
You know, I've been to some of those shows in Vegas and
Yeah.
stuff like that when they, I forgot what they call it, but he's calling out people's things and all of this other stuff, and he doesn't know anybody in the room.
Right.
I've been to that show, and I was a little impressed. You know what I mean? It's like,
A lot of times, well, you think it's a plant, right? You think,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
so
when it comes to hypnosis, my only experience has been seeing it on TV,
right.
I think like watching the Three Stooges or something where one of them was being hypnotized and the other one was watching in the background and
got hypnotized. Yeah,
and he had the keywords and stuff like that. So I've never had any experience with it.
Me either.
But
I've never been around it or anything like that. But I have some interest.
yeah. Well, see, that's what this piqued my curiosity. We have a guest that's going to be joining us.
Right.
And when I read his bio, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I want him on the show because I really want to get into this because I've never had any experience with this.
Right.
So I was so curious. And the fact that he's had success in helping people with it, that's what we do, right? We wanted to be able to help the Man Space Nation. So we're going to talk to our guest here. So as I mentioned, our guest today, he is a hypnotist who specializes in conversational hypnosis, a method that helps individuals break through the subconscious blocks and achieve personal transformations. His approach is designed to be quick and effective, making permanent changes by working on the unconscious level. His process is similar to traditional talk therapy, but incorporates hypnotic languages and patterns to access the unconscious mind, allowing for fast and significant change. He has had success with clients overcoming various issues such as anxiety, depression, smoking, less, addictions, trauma, PTSD, weight loss, body image issues, relationships, heartbreak, self-doubt, and low self-esteem.
Wow.
Manspace Nation, please put your hands together for Mr. Deron Singh. Welcome to the show. They wanted to come back and give you another applause there. All right. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Doing great.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you.
It's good to be had. I definitely want to address Les's ideas about hypnosis, so he has a different frame of mind about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, real quick, before we really get into it, last week we had a guest on, and we kind of expected it from him because he's from California. So he's a fan of pumpkin spice. It's that season. Where do you stand when it comes to pumpkin spice?
It's good stuff. It's funny because I heard someone get surprised. They're like, "There's no pumpkin and pumpkin spice,"
Yes.
And I mentioned to him it's called pumpkin spice because there is no pumpkin in pumpkin spice either. So just to give them an idea about that. It's not
Right.
called a pumpkin latte, it's called a pumpkin spice latte. So just to
Yes.
give
Yeah.
them perspective of that.
Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. Ultimately for me, as far as coffee goes, I like just brewing my coffee at home and then just relaxing.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
can't. We're not fans of it.
Gotcha. And that's totally okay.
except for last week, I tried something new for the first time in many, many years, and I actually liked it.
Nice.
And it was pumpkin spice, so I had to bring my rest of my family in and say, "Listen, I need everybody to try this.
Mhm.
Sit right here, take a piece of it." Yeah.
Nice.
So I got 4 people to switch up, but only for that
Really?
one. Yeah, 4 people for that one snack.
Did Mrs. Les do this?
I don't force her to do nothing. You know why? She's meaner than I am. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
she's
true.
meaner than me. So I tried it.
Well, look at it this way: you actually use hypnosis without actually even realizing it.
Did I?
You made a statement that was so compelling that it was hard for them to refuse.
Yeah. They didn't refuse it. So
Yeah.
I got 4 on my team now, but only for that one snack. So I had to go buy some more. But we're not doing no pies and cakes and all of that other stuff.
None of that today. None of that today. No
none
food
of that
alerts.
stuff. I'm not doing it. It ain't happening. So Deron, let me ask you something. Can you share how you first became interested in hypnosis and what drew you to use it as a tool to help people with addictions?
Yeah. Sorry, my camera popped off. How I got into it is I was on a search to find something that could actually work. So what I mean by that is I did the lineup of things that people said to do to help you heal, which could be therapy, coaching of all different methodologies, psychedelics, retreats, meditation, mindfulness, and ultimately I wanted to use it as something to help others, and then I realized how powerful it was to help yourself.
Mhm.
So that's really how I got into it. I'm just like everyone else. I had stuff that was going on that I wanted to get resolved, and there's nothing more upsetting to yourself to find something and it not work. So then you just try to find something else and not work. And there's another thing when you actually do find something and it actually works, where you're like, wow, this is like something that can help people across the board with so many issues, dis-ease, and ailments that they have. And I even addressed to people the history of hypnosis, where hypnosis has been around for thousands and thousands of years, where it's been around before psychotherapy. It's just psychotherapy became a more popular model at the time, because if you really think about it, what makes more money off a person? Someone standing, going back into the chair over and over again, or just someone being healed after they sit in the chair once?
Hmm.
Yeah, just like Big Pharma.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, how would you overall describe hypnosis? Like, we've seen, the TV shows. I was mentioning the Three Stooges, and
Mhm.
the person holding up the watch and or stare into my eyes. How would you describe the process, and how is it different than what we've actually seen on TV before?
So I use hypnosis therapeutically.
Hmm.
That's why when I was in the green room, I was laughing at Les where he mentioned the Vegas shows.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
the analogy I use for that is hypnosis therapeutically would it be like going to an NBA basketball game. Going to a Vegas show for hypnosis is like going to see the Globetrotters play. It's
Mm.
not really, it's entertainment.
Right.
Right.
So that's the best
Okay.
distinction of it. So ultimately, regardless if people believe in hypnosis or not, it doesn't matter, because hypnosis is a natural state of mind. You cannot deny it. That's like trying to deny yourself that
Mhm.
you have lungs or cells in your body. You cannot deny those things. So ultimately, I just use that tool to help someone therapeutically overcome a particular thing. Something that I've been addressing to a lot of people and a lot of podcasts I've been on recently is everyone is hypnotizing themselves every single day. You just don't know it. Just like I mentioned with Les, he used hypnosis without even knowing it to influence someone to try pumpkin spice. So
Mhm.
it's a tool that we're using every single day. However, majority of people are using it negatively in the form of self-talk.
Mm.
Why did I do this? I'm such an idiot. I hate when I do this. Why do I have a hard time with quitting smoking? These are the programs that are going on in our mind that we're not even realizing we're saying to ourselves. So we're programming ourselves over and over again. So the moment someone says, I'm going to quit smoking, that conscious thought is going up against that automatic program of, I can never quit. I can never quit. And there's a lot of speakers that speak about how we have over 50,000 thoughts a day. And majority of those thoughts, about 95% of the thoughts, are automatic thoughts. So
Mhm.
if you think about it, you tell yourself, I'm going to quit smoking. You have probably 30,000 thoughts that are saying, I can't quit. I can't quit. I can't quit. I just use hypnosis to dig into that part of their subconscious mind where that program is, and we just change the program. Just like that. And once that change happens,
Mhm.
next thing you know, that person may reach for that cigarette and be like, nah, not today. Or later.
Mm.
And they pick it up again, and they're like,
Right.
not feeling it. And then a week goes by, and they're like, hold on a second. I haven't smoked in a week. And
Right.
it's that subtle because they have switched their identity. They're not using
Mhm.
effort. They're not using force. They're not telling themselves, I'm not going to smoke. I'm using all this effort. It's just like, wow, I just realized I haven't grabbed a cigarette or whatever.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because the shift happened on the subconscious level, which is where your identity is. And that's why it actually works.
Hmm. It's
Kind of,
interesting.
it's kind of like, self-talk as a man thinker.
Right.
How you talk to yourself and put the positive affirmations in there. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
As a
yeah,
man thinketh, so he is, right?
yeah.
However, when we do that to ourselves, that's on the conscious level.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because conscious level has it, in order for it to actually stick, it has to go onto the subconscious level. Because at that point,
Right.
you're not having to convince yourself over and over again. Like, for example, the two of you on the subconscious level have an identity of Russ and Les. Because of that,
Mhm.
Right.
the two of you don't wake up every morning and say, I am Russ, I am Russ, I am Les, I am Les. You don't have to do that.
Right. Because we
Because on
know
the
it.
subconscious level,
Right.
that's your identity.
Mhm.
It's the same thing
Mm.
of, okay, I am a non-smoker. That could be an identity. Now, if you're not, by you just waking up and telling yourself that over and over again, like an affirmation, you could be just going up against that part of your mind that's resistant to that change. The key thing for people to realize is
Right.
the way everything that's happening in our life, no matter if we're a smoker or we have a dis-ease or anxiety, depression, they actually are there to benefit us on an unconscious level. It sounds weird. However, once you tap
Yeah.
into the subconscious mind, you have the ability to change that program. But your body, your mind is not
Yeah.
trying to sabotage you like people say. It is not. It's trying to keep you safe. That is the most
Mhm.
important thing for everyone's mind. The number 1, 2, and 3, and infinite priority of your mind is to keep you safe. So if
Yeah.
smoking will keep someone safe in the form of, well, when a person smokes, from what I know, they feel relaxed. Well, good. It's a lot better than being stressed out and then,
Mhm.
killing themselves in the form of stress and anxiety. So smoking relaxes the body.
Mhm.
So your mind has programmed to know that. All you have to do is change that programming to, hey, I don't need a tool to relax. I can just be relaxed, no matter what's happening. The world can be on fire, and I still be sitting back, convincing my family about pumpkin spice, and I'll be totally relaxed doing it.
I know for me,
Right.
last week, I had a call with a gentleman who was talking about caffeine and all the things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can give up drinking coffee. So I've
Mm,
got away from caffeine altogether for the last week. The first day was just completely hard. Like
yeah.
by the end of the day, I had a major headache. It was tough not getting that cup of coffee and walking past my coffee maker every morning with little K cups sitting right there. Like, you know, like man, opening the refrigerator and there's your creamer sitting right there. You know, but it was. I guess it's on the. I'm not on the subconscious mind, but I'm there because I'm telling myself I don't need it. I'm still at that point where I'm telling myself I don't need it. I may want it still, but I haven't got to the point where it's just at where it's like second nature yet. And I guess
Mm,
that's where I have to get to is, making caffeine a second nature thing of, yeah, I don't need it anymore. Because I
yeah.
would have, every morning, as soon as I woke up in the morning, I'm going downstairs, I'm making a cup of coffee, you know,
Mm,
and I'm gonna sit, catch the news, what's going on, watch a little Sports Center, and drink my cup of coffee, and then I'm good to go. Then I'm gonna go on about my day, and I've done this every morning for years, and so just kind of stopping after a week was kind of tough, but I do have a guest that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk more about the risk and dangers of caffeine in a couple of weeks. But this was really, really interesting on just
yeah.
kind of getting between the conscious mind and the
The
subconscious.
subconscious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So, Deron, let me ask you another quick question. What are some of the largest misconceptions or the biggest misconceptions people have about hypnosis?
It's mind control is probably a big one. If hypnosis isn't
Mm,
mind control, if hypnosis is anything, it's you actually being back in control of your mind. That is the most important thing for people to realize. Because you have, once again, those automatic thoughts, which people are like, oh man, I don't even know these thoughts are going
right.
on. Well, if they're not going on, you probably don't realize you don't have control of them. So it's almost taking
Mhm.
back control of your mind, saying, hey, mind, this is my new belief. This is my new belief. This is my new belief. Um, Another one I would say is people believe that they can be stuck in hypnosis. That's not true either. Um, if I were to work with a
Mm,
client and they were in hypnosis, and let's say I were just to end the session abruptly, they would eventually come out of hypnosis. They're not going to, no one can stay in hypnosis forever. So that's also a myth as
mm.
well. Um, let's see. Those are probably the two biggest ones. I'm trying to think of some other
The
ones as
biggest.
well. Um,
yeah.
I think the mind control one goes back to like someone can make you do something. Um, all hypnosis is self hypnosis. Technically, I don't hypnotize people. People hypnotize themselves. They allow themselves to get into that space because sometimes people are like, "Oh, I
Mm,
don't want to be hypnotized. I don't want to be hypnotized." Like they can resist, but ultimately, when they start to feel how it feels, like why would you not want to go into that space? And with that being said,
hmm,
it goes back to like a smoker. Why would you not smoke if it makes you feel good when you do that,
Mhm.
right? And then going back to you, Russ,
Right.
you like you mentioned with the coffee, you had a habit of waking up, making coffee, and then starting your day watching Sports
mhm,
Center and relaxing. You create a habit of that. So when you take one part of that habit out, your mind's like, whoa, 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 what is going on? It's like, we don't
Yeah.
like
right.
this. Something's different because our mind doesn't like different. It likes familiarity
Yeah.
because familiarity, guess what? It can be known. If something's unknown, your mind doesn't like it
Hmm,
because unknown also equates to unsafe to your mind. It's how come some people like watching the
mm,
same movies over and over and over again because they know what to expect. It's how come if you watch a scary movie,
right.
it's kind of
Right.
you're scared the most when people jump out unexpectedly. However, you watch that movie again, it's not going to be as scary because you already know what's going to happen.
Interesting. Listen, we have a brief game that we're going to play along with you, and it is called Lightning Round. So here in lightning round, Les is going to ask you a question. And at the end of the question, you just say the first thing that comes to mind. You got 60 seconds that will be on the clock. Les will ask you the question. You respond with whatever comes to mind. And the clock will start after Les finishes the first question.
All right, you ready? All right, here we go. If you
Ready.
could hypnotize the world to if you could hypnotize the world to believe one thing, what would it be?
Love yourself.
All right. What's one myth about hypnosis that drives you crazy?
Is devil worshiping.
Can anyone actually not be hypnotized?
Everyone can be hypnotized.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing someone's ever asked to be hypnotized for? If you could tell us.
A man wanted his private parts to grow.
Okay. Okay. All right, that one threw me off. I knew it was going to be something like that. If hypnosis had a theme song, what would it be?
I got to give you an extra 20 seconds. I'm sorry.
A theme song. Oh my goodness. Love is my religion.
What's the first thing you tell skeptics about hypnosis?
You can be hypnotized,
Okay.
even if you don't want to.
What's one thing people misunderstand about the subconscious mind?
That is where all your beliefs are.
Okay.
Mm.
Last one. If therapy was a superhero, what would its superhero be?
Superman.
I caught that one. That was the first thing I thought too. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. We're going to take a quick
Yeah,
break.
of course. That was fun.
But before we go to break, we got to tell you about our sponsor. And Manspace Nation, you already know who it is. It's Manscaped. Gentlemen, and the brave partners who love them, let's talk about landscaping. No, not your lawn. We're talking about personal property maintenance. Introducing from Manscaped, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the only tool that makes trimming your hedges feel like upgrading your sports car. With precision blades, skin-safe technology, and a light so bright you could land a plane. This thing doesn't just mow, it glides. So say goodbye to nicks, snags, and that terrifying moment when your clipper sounds like it's eating your furniture. Listen, guys, use our code TMSP20 and get 20% off your first order and free shipping. Because if it's free, I'll take 3. So fellas, if you want your front yard to look well presentable, then get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped, because your body deserves curb appeal too. We are back with our special guest, Mr. Deron Singh. So, Deron, can you walk us through what happens in a hypnosis session, like especially one that's designed to help, an addiction or something like that? How does it tap into that subconscious mind?
Yeah. So ultimately, I usually begin every session just getting clarity on what is the outcome the client wants.
Mhm.
Because I am not going to assume that they want something, because let's say if they want to overcome an addiction, I'm not going to assume what that looks like for them. So it's important for me to know exactly what that looks like for them so I can give them those suggestions. During that or after that, the session's already begun, or even before that takes place, the session's already begun. Everyone's willingness to go into trance is different. So
Mhm.
I'm really just being very receptive to see where that individual is. And that's important to know because sometimes people ask me, what is the length of a session? It can vary. It could be a 5-minute session. It could be a 3-hour session.
Hmm.
It really depends on what's really needed for that individual. But ultimately it's having a conversation. I'm having a very strategic conversation with an individual. And what's funny is sometimes a client is so prepared that they just hop on a call and they just go right into hypnosis without me saying a word
Hmm.
because they're already primed for it. And that's always fun because that way
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, just go to sleep. And they're just, they drop out in trance. And then it's just like, all right, boom, 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 boom. There you go. Wake up.
Wow.
So the sessions, as far as how they all look different. The content is vastly different. The context is the same, which is resolution.
Mhm. So a lot of times this is more like a regular therapy session. Like if you go to a therapist and they'll say, "Hey, sit back on the couch," and just kind of going to get them to relax, and then you just talk to them a little bit to kind of get through the mind and find out what they really need, and then go from there.
Yeah, it could look exactly like a therapy session or a coaching session. And I think that's what makes it great is a more of a direct hypnotherapy approach. An individual is going to be on guard, and that would be something like me telling someone, "All right, now Russ, go ahead and just relax and close your eyes, and I'm gonna have you count down from 10 to 1, and when you get to 1, you're gonna go into nice, deep, relaxing, hypnotic trance." So if I were to do something like that, many individuals are gonna be like, "Okay, it's about to happen," and their mind's gonna just tighten up and start to resist and be
Right.
on guard. So what's great about doing it conversationally is I can say it in such a way where it can easily bypass their mind and change can actually happen. And
Hmm.
just from doing it as subtle as that, you might notice that nodding starts to happen in the individual and then they start to smile.
Mm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Is there a
And the nod
typical
happens.
number of sessions? Yeah, is there a typical number of sessions needed before people start noticing real change?
They'll notice real change after a one session
Oh,
Really? Wow.
because everything was already the program has already been put in place.
Hmm.
So sometimes I get
Interesting.
clients that will tell me like, "Hey, like I'm I'm feeling all this stuff after the session." I'm like, "Yeah, that's part of the process." And what I mean by that is, let's say I'm working with someone and they are dealing with depression, and then after a
Hmm.
session, they're like, "Man, I feel like these wave of emotions and sadness. Like, what's going on?" And I'll explain to them that's that grief that you've been holding on to for years. It's releasing. Like the
Right.
emotions that you've been that have been repressed, they have to be released somehow. So you could have that somatic release, that emotional release, and it happens.
Mhm.
However, what they say afterwards is, "Oh my goodness, like I feel amazing afterwards." I was like, "Yeah, you've been holding on to this for decades.
Wow.
Now it's gone."
wow.
Wow. So, are there certain types of addictions like smoking or alcohol or emotional eating that respond better to hypnosis than others?
No, it's no, no. The answer to that the answer is no.
Hmm.
What's great about hypnosis is you don't have to know anything about what they're going through. Sometimes people want to come
Wow.
in, they want to treat it like a therapy session, they want to just tell you their story and their narrative. None of that matters because they're just going back into the past. And what they're doing consciously is they're trying to reinforce their identity. Deron, this is the way I am because I dealt with this. And I'm like, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And people have held on,
Wow.
they've held on to that identity for such a long time. And it's very similar, once again, to Russ, like you mentioned with the coffee. Your identity was waking up in the morning and making coffee and then watching Sports Center. You stopped the coffee.
Yeah.
Now you're like, the body's like, whoa, what's going on? Something's off. We don't like this. So
Right.
ultimately,
Now,
it's now someone saying, hey, I don't want to give up coffee because it doesn't, it's not good for me, this, that, and the other. But then again, there are people that say coffee is good for them. Caffeine is good for them. It ultimately depends what is being programmed in your mind to believe what you believe.
gotcha.
Interesting.
Interesting. So, kind of on the same thing, how important is mindset and willingness to change in achieving success through hypnosis? And have you ever run across someone who's too headstrong or too strong-willed to be hypnotized?
I think every client that I work with now is you could consider headstrong. That to me is what I consider an analytical client. And they're very self-aware at the same time as well. They know everything. They've read the books, they've listened to the podcast, they've watched the YouTube videos. They know everything. They can tell you every single thing about anxiety and depression and their problem, yet they still have the problem. And the reason this is important to know is because what I preach about so much is information is not going to help you solve the problem that's going on in your life, because your subconscious mind doesn't need information. It doesn't care about logic. It thinks in the form of words, or sorry, not words, thinks in the form of pictures, images, symbols, and metaphors. This is how come a lot of change can happen from someone just telling you a story. And this is how a lot of people have learned over time. Since the beginning of time, we've all learned through stories, campfires. People get around and tell stories, and those stories have been passed down from generation to generation. Because those stories have been so resonating for people. And you think about a lot of scriptures and religious texts, a lot of them are stories that influence people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So I remove logic from the session in total, to a point where clients will be like, I have no freaking clue what you're talking about. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because if they don't know what I'm talking about, their conscious mind is over in left field searching for it, while I'm directly talking to their subconscious mind, making those changes happen.
So, what advice would you give to someone who is skeptical but curious about trying hypnosis for any type of issue?
Ultimately, if someone were to be skeptical of it, I would just say, what is it that you really want? And whatever it is that you want, hypnosis can help you get it. So they're like, I'm skeptical. Well, what is more important, for you to remain skeptical of it or for you to achieve this outcome? That's really, you get to pick. If your desire to change is so big, then you're willing to do whatever it has to take, whatever you have to do, as long as it's safe and safe for you and safe for others, which it is.
Interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend, and he was talking about choice, and a lot of that is falls along the line of what you were just talking about. He says, I can choose to be upset or I can choose to be happy. And so I choose to be happy. I choose, I can choose to be, depressed, or I can choose to be joyful. Every day that we wake up, we have a choice. The only thing that we don't have a choice over is death. We don't know when that's going to happen.
Right.
but everything else is we have choices in it. So, you know, so yeah, I can see that. So if it's something that you're curious to try it, you know, give it a shot,
Yeah.
see how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try that. I'll just say that. Okay. Rick
We don't
James taught us
recommend that
that. Rick James taught us that one. Okay.
one.
Plenty examples out there in the street. But Duran, I
Can I
when I
mention
read your
something
Yeah.
too?
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
go ahead.
Yeah. So one thing I'll tell people too is like if you're skeptical,
Mhm.
before you even think about hypnosis, do everything else.
Yeah.
Do everything else. Exhaust yourself out of everything
Mm.
else where you did therapy, coaching, because at that point you're like, listen, I can't be a skeptic about this. This is like my last resort.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've done everything else. Nothing else has worked. Just
Just give it
let
a
me just
shot.
try it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. So Duran, when I read your bio, is you shared that over the past decade or over a decade, you were looking for some help, someone else to fix your problems, through doctors, therapists, spirituality. You know, can you take us back a little bit to a point in time in your life where, and what was that experience for you? What was it really like for you during that time when you were looking for help?
Yeah. It was dark. It was dark. It was me excited at the moment because I thought I found something that could help me, and then only to be let down. And when
Mhm.
I say I've tried everything, I I tried everything. I mean,
Mhm.
it was the point where I was just searching, searching, searching. Um, Depressed, lay in bed for hours and hours and hours, where it seemed like I just was just lazy and didn't want to go to bed, but I was just frozen. I just was like a prisoner of my own mind, where I tried to do everything to get out of bed, but I just couldn't. The only thing that would get me out of bed at times was use a bathroom. And when that happened, I'd get excited. Like, oh, great, I'm out of bed. But guess what happened? It was like I would just run right back to my bed and lie back down for more hours.
Right.
Eventually, I would get up, and it was disrupting my life, relationships, finances, career, all those
Mhm.
things at the time. Um, and each time someone mentioned, hey, try this, tried it, wouldn't work. And it's very important for people to know that the only person that can heal you is yourself. There's no one that can heal you. You are your own best healer. Once you accept that and know that you are the medicine, everything will change. And it even goes back to realizing that we actually do get high on our own supply.
Hmm.
Where if you do take a substance, you're not getting high off that substance. You're getting high off the hormones that are being released in your body when you do take those substances. So our body is releasing particular hormones for us to feel what we're feeling during those moments. So
Mhm.
it's really important for people to realize like you can heal yourself. I don't care what you're really going through. You can heal yourself. I was told by therapists and coaches like, yeah, like what you're dealing with, you can't be cured. And I want people to know that there's a cure for probably what you're going through.
What's something that you would want everybody to really understand when it comes to hypnosis?
It's a natural state of mind. I think that's the most important thing because I think the biggest thing is one of my biggest focuses to speak about this is to educate people properly on what it is and what it is not. And I know there's a lot of people that are very skeptical of it. I mentioned this someone recently today. I was like, "Hey, try this recording," and she
Mhm.
said, "No, I only surrender to God." I'm like, "What is that? What do you mean? Like
Hmm.
this is this is a recording that's free that I send out to people that make you happy, improve your health, and improve your wealth." Like that's the response I got. And I
Yeah.
know that a response like that is because people are not aware of what it is because they've been
Right.
conditioned, once again, a
Have been
program in the
conditions.
mind
Yes.
of, oh, it's what I see in movies. oh, it's what I saw at, Vegas shows, where I'm like,
Hmm.
no, this is therapeutic. This is not
Mm.
what you think it is. So educate people on what it is and realizing that it's natural. Like we all go into it. And I was trying to find a way to explain it best to people. And it's what I mentioned earlier. We're all doing it to ourselves every day in the form of self-talk.
Yeah.
So if you realize that, and now your process is to change it. And
Mm.
the conscious mind likes details. It likes logic. It likes details. It likes the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
However, you do the opposite of what your mind wants to get out of it. You get very vague and ambiguous. You get confusing to a point where the mind's like, what? Because if you've ever noticed, like in those moments when you're confused, it's hard to think. And
Hmm.
that's good because it's hard to think. You can't disrupt the process. But subconsciously, no matter what's being said or told or what you're viewing, it's sinking into your subconscious mind.
Mm. Wow.
And there's companies
Never thought
that
of it
use
like that.
marketing that know these tools, and they use these tools to influence people to buy certain things.
Hmm. So we got to do the last word.
And now, the last word.
So, Deron, what would you say to people who may be interested into this type of career and want to get into where they can actually practice hypnosis and help people?
So if someone were trying to get into this career, that's a good question. Yeah, there's so many resources I could offer them. Ultimately, like what I do is a culmination of like three mentors that I've had. I don't want to say
Hmm.
it's something that I created, like how I do it.
Hmm.
Ultimately, I would say the best thing is to study up on Milton Erickson, who is considered the father of modern hypnotherapy, um, where
Hmm.
he started off using direct hypnotherapy from his mentor. But once again, he started coming across people where they were very resistant. So then he changed it into being very permissive and very subtle to something like instead of Les telling his family, hey, you got to buy this pumpkin spice, it was like, hey, what this pumpkin spice that I'm having is very, very good. You might want to try this. So if you notice the difference
Hmm.
of those two statements, one is direct, like buy it versus, hey, you might want to try this. You're not telling them to,
Right.
but you're giving their mind in a suggestion of, you know what? He likes it. I might like it too. Let me try it.
Maybe I should try it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So, Duran, we definitely enjoy having you on the show today. How can people find you and more about your services? Um, and they can follow you on social media.
Yeah. So I'm active on Instagram at Deron_Singh, YouTube, the same handle, Deron_Singh. I post weekly on YouTube, post weekly on Instagram. And then my website is the best source if you are interested in working with me now, which is DeronSingh.com. I have application process on there. Fill out the application. I'll review it. And then next step will be your session.
All right.
Now, do you work with people nationwide or they have to be local to you or how does that?
Yeah, I work virtually, so I work with people all over.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Absolutely. So, Les, there's hope for you.
Man, I promise you, brother. I mean, I've tried a lot of different things. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I would say is I have some free recordings on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's funny because there are certain people I would send them out to, and I'm like, so
Mhm.
how was it? And they're like, I, I'm good. I'm like, oh, but what about working with me? Like, no, I'm good. Like the recording was good enough. So I was like, oh man, I didn't want to be that good.
We got it. We got to have you back on the show and at another time
Yeah.
where we can do another follow up, and hopefully we don't have the technical difficulties that we've had through this one. But we definitely appreciate having you on the show. This has been an enlightening episode. I really, really enjoyed it. But we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our closeout of the Man Space podcast. As we do each week, we like to close the show with just a little bit of inspiration. Here's the thing about healing. It doesn't come with a stopwatch, a leaderboard, or even a neat checklist that you can cross off while sipping your third coffee of the day. It's more like a weird, winding hiking trail. The kind that starts off sunny, gets muddy halfway through, and then surprises you with a squirrel staring at you like it knows your secrets. Some days you feel strong. You'll journal. You'll drink water. Maybe even stretch without groaning. Other days, brushing your teeth will feel like an Olympic event. Both kind of days count. Healing isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about giving yourself permission not to be okay and still going anyway. It's progress that often hides in tiny moments, a deep breath, a laugh at something stupid, or realizing that yesterday's heaviness feels a little bit lighter today. And if you need to cry, cry. If you need to nap, nap like a champion. Healing doesn't mean being perfect. It means being human. And humans, as it turns out, are allowed to take their sweet, messy time. So give yourself grace. Eat a cookie, text a friend, and Manspace Nation, while you're walking your weird little trail, you're healing, even if it doesn't always look like it. Until next time. Manspace Nation. Healing is not a straight line. It's
No.
a journey of small steps, deep breaths, quiet victories that no one else may see.
That's right.
It's not about getting over what happened, but learning how to just carry it differently, right?
Yeah. Healing is about you and
Yeah.
no one else.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Stay patient, stay kind, stay curious, Manspace Nation. But Manspace Nation, you know what happens every Monday on the Manspace. If you go to WTMSTV.com, you get to see the latest episode 2 days early of the Manspace podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 days before it gets released to everybody else on WTMSTV.com. And then on Thursday nights, it is back to back to back to back episodes on WTMSTV.com of the Manspace podcast. It's Throwback Thursdays on Thursday nights.
Look at that.
Now, we've got a packed few months coming up ahead of us, man.
Yeah, I know.
We've got some shows with some authors. We got award-winning journalists, podcast hosts, international speakers,
Man.
entrepreneurs, doctors, and even a sex therapist.
Boy, I tell you, leave it.
Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you offline what product they actually sell.
I can't handle it. Oh, Lord, Jesus. I can't handle it. You're trying to get me in trouble.
Hey, I've already gotten clearance with Miss Russ, so I'm good. We're doing it. So,
hey, well, then, you know, it is what it is. We just going to make it happen.
That's right.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Hey, Manspace Nation, make sure we're now on TikTok. You can follow us there at ManSpaceNet1 on TikTok.
See some of your favorite clips from our shows.
That's right. And with all of that said, on
We
that
out of
note,
here.
hey,
We out of
hey,
here.
you
I
were
was a
too
little
early. Wait,
premature. A little bit
yeah,
premature with that one.
you need that
I gotta talk
therapist.
to the therapist.
Later, man, Space Nation.
Oh, man.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Man Space.
Whichever platform you listen to us on, make sure you subscribe and don't miss a show.
Remember to keep up with all the Man Space updates on our website, themanspacepodcast.com.
And you can follow us on Instagram at manspacenat1.
Until next time, Man Space Nation, he's Les, I am Russ, and we are out
Out of here.